If you attend craft markets, then you've probably experienced a bad day. We all have, haven't we? People haven't turned up, you didn't sell as much as you wanted to, maybe you didn't sell anything at all. And it can leave you feeling really deflated and wondering, should I do any more fairs? Should I do that one again? Is it my stock? Was it something I said? Should I do any fairs again? Perhaps I'll just give up. So what I'm going to talk about today is how we can reframe it and look at a bad craft fair in a different way. So I actually attended an event in January this year. Now, January, you're probably thinking, why? Why January? It's not a good time. Like, people haven't got money left over from Christmas. But actually, I've done some really good January events, and people do have money because people get gifted money for Christmas these days. So people are out there spending, and people still have birthdays and things like that. So January, I wouldn't completely write it off, all right? But I attended this event in January. The stall was only £15, so I knew it wasn't going to be a massive event. This was an event in a coffee shop, and I had a goal. My goal for that day was not how much could I sell, but how many flyers could I give out to promote my craft workshops. So I do have my notebooks that I sell, and I had them with me, and I had my craft book with me that I sell, but my goal wasn't to sell them. My goal was to talk to as many people as possible and promote my craft workshops. So the stall cost me £15, and I was there from 10 till 3. So at this January event, I sold one notebook at £12, and that was it. So I made a loss of £3, which is not a massive loss, but considering I was there all day, it was a little bit of a shame. However, I did get 4 email sign-ups, and I had lots and lots of conversations, and I gave out a lot of flyers. I don't know how many I gave out, but it was a good number, and the conversations were good. They weren't short. I was able to explain the work that I do, and in doing so, hand out a leaflet. So in March, I run a handbag workshop. The tickets were £45 each, and at the event, at the workshop, I asked everybody, and this is really important to do, you should evaluate as regularly as you can, and it can just be a verbal thing like this, which was, can I ask how you heard about the event? You don't have to have a form or anything like that, but you can do. And 2 of the ladies actually said, oh, we saw you and picked up a leaflet at that event back in January. So that was £90 that I made from that event that I'd done a couple of months before. Now, that weekend after the handbag workshop, there was another event at the same venue. And those ladies that come to the handbag workshop came along to that event, and they bought a notebook. So that was another £14 that I could add on. In May, I got invited to do another craft fair. I had not heard about this event before, but they had picked up one of my business cards at that event in January. So I went along. Now, it wasn't a hugely profitable event, I have to say. The stall cost me £30 and I made £90. So a profit of £60. But this venue that had the craft fair, they also run workshops, so I knew that it was a possibility if I spoke to them and showed them the workshops that I offer, they might want to book me for some of their future events. And they did. And so in July, they booked me for 2 events, paid up front, which was £150 per workshop. So that's £300. You can see where I'm going with this now, right? I also received an email in my inbox from a group who had had a cancellation for a speaker, and they wondered if I would be able to go and do a talk for them. So I asked how did they hear about me, and lo and behold, they'd picked up a flyer at that event back in January. My talk was £100. We did a craft activity, so I charged £30 to cover the materials, and then I sold 2 of my craft books at the event, which was £30, making a total of 150. Now, you've probably not been keeping score, but I'll add them all up for you. That is a total of £611 once you take off the fees for the stall in January and the other stall at the other craft market. So in total, I took 656 and my fees were minus £45. That's a profit of 611. Now, this is a basic profit. Obviously, there's things like materials, petrol, and all of those sorts of costs. But if we're just going on the basics, that January event didn't really look that great to begin with. And it's quite often that we aren't able to see what gain we get from being at a craft fair and having that presence. So what I wanted to do, because I have been able to realise what work has come from that one event, it was really important to me to be able to share that with you. So next time you have a bad event, just think, well, actually, is it as bad as I thought it was? Your presence is huge. So unless you're paying like £80-90 for a stall and you're not making much money, then I think, you know, we've got a bit of a problem. But you can pay easily £20 to go to a networking event, and you probably wouldn't get as much work or money in return at a networking event as a craft business than you would doing what I did back in January. So I think for me, and probably for you, the biggest takeaway from this experience has been how important it is to do your evaluation. And it doesn't have to be big forms, but asking questions, whether it is a form, it could be something on your website, it could be an email you send to your mailing list, but asking those questions is really important, because now I know that that event I did in January was not a waste of my time. In fact, I earned quite a bit of money out of it, and I may have earned even more money from that event in January, which I've been unable to track, like notebook orders and things like that. So it really goes to show that asking those questions is important, and that's why I have a whole section on evaluation in the Craft Fair Success Kit. Now, if you haven't got a copy already, I've dropped a link in the description below. The Craft Fair Success Kit is a 76-page workbook. It's got everything you need to know to have more success at craft fairs. This is perfect if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, but also if you've been doing craft fairs for a while and you're feeling a little bit stuck. If you're thinking, oh, maybe it's time, they're not working anymore, I need to do something different, then online isn't necessarily just the answer. And I think this example that I've shared with you today just goes to show that. So do stick with the craft fairs, and if you need more help, then you can get a copy of my Craft Fair Success Kit. But I've also got a little freebie, a little try before you buy, called From Browsers to Buyers. It's a 14-page ebook which I will send direct to your email, and it just gives you lots of tips on how you can stop those people from walking past your stall and get them to come over and part with their money. So if you would like a copy of that, the link is in the description below. And as well as the ebooks, I've also got a Craft Fair Success playlist here on YouTube. So go check out the next video, and I'll be back here soon with some more Craft Fair Success tips for you. Until then, see you later.